And there was a moment where I was playing defense against Cade, and he went to the hole, and I got elbowed in the face, like the first possession.
Flagrant elbow.
So that was, a welcome to NBA moment.
What's up, Piston fans? It's your boy Flagrant Elbow back with another one. Tonight, the Detroit Pistons lose to the Toronto Raptors, 115 to 111. It was a good game. A lot of things we can take away from it, and we're going to do that tonight. We're going to talk about, we're going to break the game down, the game itself, talk a little bit about the players, how the bench unit fared in this game, give a conclusion, and also talk about who my player of the game was. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Before we do, we just want to thank everybody for checking out the channel. Thank you for clicking on it to listen to the content today. Really appreciate everybody hanging with me. Right now, we are looking at 628 subscribers. I thank you all for your support, your continued support. Also, make sure you check out in the description the merch link to check out some of the merchandise, Pistons versus everybody, that we put together. Hope you enjoy that. Get your t-shirt, get your hoodie, or either get you a hat or anything that you like. But just check it out, though. Appreciate all your support. Also, I will receive a commission from anything purchased through the links also. So that helps support the channel, and I really appreciate that. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get right into the meat and potatoes of this video. The Pistons lose to the Toronto Raptors 111 to 115. Let's go ahead and get into it. So this was a good game. As far as the game is concerned, started off with a starting lineup change. Saddiq Bey was sent to the bench. And what they did was they went with a two-big lineup with Marvin Bagley and Isaiah Stewart. And I like that idea. Me personally, I just like Duren. He doesn't offer as much as Bags does. Plus, he's very young, rookie. But I just like his defensive intensity that he brings, and I'm just a big fan of defensive intensity. But Bags didn't do a bad job. He holds it up. He holds up on his end, and I appreciate the effort that he puts into it as well. So I just personally am a defense first person. But anyway, with that being said, I thought it was a good change up to see how things will work. I think I think Saddiq could benefit sometimes from coming off the bench. They had Bojan starting in and hit at the three, and I like that. It didn't show too much on stat-wise. That first quarter, the Pistons only had 23 points to Toronto's 27, so chemistry's still going to have to be built. That was a completely new lineup to start this season, and everyone's going to have to understand who's going to be where. And you had Killian starting. Remember, Cade's out. So it was a completely new lineup with no chemistry built whatsoever as of yet with that lineup. So it was new, and they did the best they could. They only lost about 4 points in that first quarter. They had a big problem with Toronto's defensive intensity. It caused a major problem the whole game, especially right out of the gate. They stole the ball. They double teamed and stole the ball from Ivy immediately after the tip-off, and the Pistons just had a hard time matching their intensity. The game was played from behind because they just could not match the intensity. And the thing about it is, it wasn't as if they were getting blew out. Pistons were trailing by 10, around 10 points the whole game. They just couldn't muster up enough to get back in it until late in the fourth quarter. But the intensity that Toronto came out there with, their length, they were active in the passing lanes, and it just really hurt Detroit, man. Detroit they didn't match it. Now, fourth quarter, late in the third, and then in the fourth quarter, they matched it and raised them one. The Pistons they turned the defense all the way up to 10. They was playing real tough, but it was a little bit too late. It was a little bit too late. In my opinion, you have to come out with that defensive intensity every game from start to finish. Takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of work, and it may take away from your offense. But what happens is now you're the team that the other team is chasing the whole game. And you can play a lot looser when you're up 10. So the Pistons just didn't match that intensity. That was the game. They got out hustled the whole game for the most part. Toronto posed a big time problem with their length and just getting steals, and that was a huge problem for the Detroit Pistons. So before we start talking about some of the players, let's look at some of the stats. The box score, first quarter, Toronto 27-23. Second quarter, Toronto 31-28. Third quarter, Toronto 30-26. Fourth quarter, Pistons 34-27. So they turned it up in that fourth quarter, and they really got out there and got on it. They were trying to do their best to get this win tonight, and I think it was 6-game winning streak against Toronto since Casey's been here. So they really wanted to give Casey a win. The Pistons from three shot 10 for 31. They shot 32%. And field goal wise, they were 45%. Rebounds, they got out rebounded. 42 for Toronto to 39 for the Pistons. Pistons did get 11 offensive rebounds though. That was pretty good. They were pretty close on assists, 27 to Detroit's 23. Steals, it seems as if when I was looking at this stat, I thought Toronto killed us in steals. But the Pistons had 8 steals to Toronto 7. They did, however, they were active with the blocks. Toronto got 8 blocks on us to Detroit's 2 blocks. Turnovers were close, 19 for Detroit, 17 for Toronto. They scored 24 points off our turnovers, and we scored 21 off of theirs. Toronto was out on the fast break points. They got 15 to our 4, and we know what that was a result from. The steals, their active hands early on, and they were just busy. They just stayed busy, man. And points in the paint, they got 56 points in the paint to our 44. Fouls were close. They had 27 fouls to our 23, and the largest lead they had was 14. And a flagrant foul was called. And they called that on Ivy. So I have to send Ivy a $50 gift card to Applebee's. Any player that gets a flagrant foul, I'm going to start sending them a $50 gift card to Applebee's. No, we don't. Flagrant fouls can cause injuries too, so we don't want people to get hurt. So, but he did get a flagrant foul on his closeout on a 3. I think it was by OJ, Anuble, whatever his name is, Anubi. Closeout, I think it was on that 3, where he kind of came down, twisted his ankle a little bit. So that was pretty good stat-wise for the Pistons. And when you look at the players' stats, the Pistons, Ivy led the game. He only had 8 points the first half. The first 3 quarters, he only had 8 points. But he finished the game with 21 points. Right behind him was, of course, Bogdanovic, 18 points. Bagley had 16. And only 5 rebounds. And then Killer Hayes only had 6 points. He struggled a little bit. He did get 3 steals and a block, so that was huge. He got 2 assists and 3 rebounds, but he struggled a little bit. He struggled just a little bit. And then Burks was in there. He got 15 points off the bench in 17 minutes, so he's very efficient. 2 assists and a steal as well. So going back to Ivy had 8 assists. He almost got a double-double today. And he also had 4 rebounds and 1 steal. Beef Stew left the game with an injury. He finished the game with 9 points, 4 rebounds, and a block. But he left the game, a freak accident, running for a loose ball and hit the barrier there and came up. They grabbed his knee at first, but then they said that he had a foot strain or sprain. So hopefully this doesn't turn into be something significant. I know he was wearing a boot a couple seasons ago, so we just hope this doesn't be something that's going to be significant moving forward. So those are the stats. Players, when it came to Killian, I just thought that he dribbled too much, and when things weren't going his way, it seemed as if he had his head down too much. He wasn't that bad today. He was 3 for 6 from his field goals. He just couldn't get it going. I think he does better when he locks and focuses in defensively, and then gets some steals, some transition play. That opens up the game for him and makes it a lot better for him. I think in the third quarter he kind of settled in and kind of locked in. You see him kind of do a couple penetrate created his own shot a couple times and hit a nice mid-range jumper. That mid-range jumper of his is looking good when he shoots it with confidence. And I think today, in this game, it just seems as if his head was hanging a little too much throughout the game. I don't know what it was with him, but when he was locked in, it seems as if he played a lot better. As we know with him, it's a big time confidence thing. So his defense picks up and his offense picks up, but he has to be locked in. His confidence has to be high. I don't know if he needs to change his type of music he's listening to before he goes out there, or his warm-up music or something. He's got to do something to get his confidence at a high level, especially with him coming in starting for Cade while Cade's out. So that was that situation. Bojan, he's always constant. The three wasn't falling early on for him. He was 2 for 8. He struggled from the three. Struggled from the free throw line. He was 6 for 10. He doesn't miss free throws, but he was 6 of 10 from the free throw line, and he just had I kind of hope we're not burning him out. I think coming over to the Pistons, he was used to getting maybe a lot more calls than what he's getting now. But that's your welcome to Detroit moment right there. Welcome to being a Piston, because the refs will not give you what you think you should be getting or what you used to get. They don't do it. I remember when Griffin came to the Pistons, he was hollering and yelling too. He was used to getting calls, and you just don't get them. So they're far and few in between. So Bojan just he struggled a little bit, man. But the one thing I like about Bojan, and that's why I say he's consistent, because when that three's not falling, he puts that ball on the floor and he creates his own shot and gets to the rim, gets to the foul line. He shot 10 free throws today. So he was active. He was busy doing his thing, getting to that foul line. And you really like that. You like to see that out of your players. Ivy was the same way. He got to the free throw line 10 times. Could have got and should have got there a lot more than that, tell you the truth. Because he was getting fouled on his drive. Sometimes he was out of control. They didn't bail him out. But he's still getting fouled. Even on the penetration, he's getting fouled. That's what happens when you're a Piston. But Bojan, he kept hanging in there, hit a nice clutch three-pointer late in the game. And you just like Bojan, but I just fear that he may be getting used too much. And that can wear him out. He's 33 years old. He played 33 minutes today. He was out there for the whole game almost, and just as much as Ivy was out there. Saddiq Bey, the Iron Man of the team, he came off the bench, but he still was out there for 31 minutes. When Beef Stew went out, they brought him back out with the starter. So you was good to see that, and it seems as if Bey is going to be okay with his role. He didn't have one of his better games today. He wasn't that aggressive, but I'll tell you how I think he should be being used coming off the bench. There's a way I think he can be effective if they use him a certain way. But going back to the players, in the starting lineup, you had Ivy. He started off slow. He looked frustrated at times, but he made up for it big time. That fourth quarter, he took the game over. He took the game over on a nice finish at the rim. Then he came right back and got an assist to Durham for a monster slam. That closed the lead down to 3. He was active, man. That fourth quarter, he was doing his thing and playing really aggressive, and you like that out of Ivy. He just didn't do it early. It seemed like he was really frustrated. It wasn't getting calls, and you can't let that frustrate you. One thing I noticed is that Cade used to do that. Would get frustrated, look for fouls. But now if you watch Cade, when he don't get a call, he'll look at the ref, throw his hand up maybe, but he just keep playing. And Ivy's going to have to learn to just keep playing. Just don't let it bother you, because it will take you off the game. It will. So don't let it bother you. So you just like to see that from your players. Now when it came to the bench players, the unit was nice. You got your consistent player in Burks. Burks comes out there and he's consistent. He drains threes, aggressively driving to the paint. He's drawing fouls. Burks was out there and he got to the foul line 5 times. Only played 17 minutes. He was aggressive. He was aggressive. And you got to be aggressive. Be consistently be aggressive. Be aggressive consistently, and consistently be aggressive. And you got to do that. He came in the game and got straight to business. Straight to business when Burks got in there. And I especially liked it when they used Burks and let him bring the ball up, let him run point. Now that I like, because Burks he's going to go out there to get his basket. He's going to get buckets. And having a point guard like that opens up so many things for the other players that's out there. So I really like Burks coming in, running that point guard, running the point. Corey Joseph wasn't used at all. I'm glad and thankful for that. We didn't need him tonight. We didn't need him, but he wasn't used for all. Hami was in there. He was active. He was cutting. He was hustling. He came out with momentum. Got a steal from OG and was out there, got a dunk. He was out there and he was active. He had finished the game with 8 points. He got to the free throw line 5 times in 17 minutes. 5 times in 17 minutes like Burks. That shows that you're being aggressive. That shows that you're being aggressive. So that's the key. I think what happens with Saddiq Bey, if he's coming off the bench, one thing I liked was that he got in there. He was kind of quiet. But when he did come in, he drained the 3. He took it to the hole, and then after that, he kind of just disappeared for a while. He couldn't get it going, but he did drain a 3. And like I said, he got to the free throw line 2 times, and that was late in the game. He played 31 minutes and only got to the free throw line 2 times. He did get 6 rebounds and 3 assists. So I think he's trying to figure out his role. I think his role, they're going to bring Bey in. I always call him that wrecking ball. Feature him. If Bey's going to be coming off the bench when he's in the game, when he comes in, feature him. Feed him. Force feed him. Make him drive the ball. Tell him to drive the ball. He ain't got to stand out there and shoot 3s all day. He'll knock down the 3, yeah. But drive the ball. Get to the paint. Get those other players in foul trouble. Get to the free throw line. I like Saddiq being aggressive. That's how they used to use the microwave. The microwave come in and get his shot. Boom, 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 boom. And if he wasn't hitting, you just pull him out the game. And that's kind of how you got to do it. And that's why I'm upset he was taken out of the starting line. Because Saddiq, a lot of times he disappears. A lot of times he disappears. You kind of need somebody that's as a starter. He has the potential to be 451 last year. Had some other high scoring games. But the thing about it is he may be best when you have both. I think that helps add some second, and I think that it also takes pressure off. If they bring him in and stagger him with the starters, it takes pressure off Bojan, it takes pressure off I. Saddiq is out there and he's been aggressive. It takes pressure off because you can let him go. He's not the best shot creator. He's strong enough to get to and play through and get to that. So that's what the players did. Livers, I think he played with. I'm trying to defensive, and he does a good. Today he wasn't one of his better. 1 for 5, but he did get to the. He finished it, played 20. But he still was get to the whether your shots falling, quit standing them, let the 3s, but get to the agility to get to the. That's what I want. And I think there was a lack of defensive communication. Too many times you'll see a player come up behind a defender, come behind him and knock them. That's a lack of communication. Sometimes it's and communicating and letting every. Tonight's game, Toronto main out hustle plays. Their defensive intensity, although started and continued and carried the remainder of the game to the Pistons. That takes a lot of energy. Finish the way they did, and my hat goes for the way they finished. My hat goes. But if you can do that in the fourth, you can do that the whole. You can't play that way and expect to win. It's almost like at that point you're playing just not to get blue. Play with intensity to win the game. Larry Brown used to say, try to win every. We trying to win every quarter. Also, lazy passes continue to plague. You know, if they gotta have pass class or something to help these boys, you cannot throw lazy passes in the NBA where everybody you playing against arms are longer. You got to pass the ball with confidence. Pass the ball like you. If you don't, continue to suck. And that's what the Pistons are. Too many turnovers. Too many teams getting too. And that's my takeaway from the game. It's a good learning experience for the entire team. A good learning experience, a good building block for you to see what you have to do to win a game. You can't just turn it on in the fourth quarter and think you're just going to win the game. You put too much pressure on yourself, allowing teams to get up on you and hit you in the mouth first and trying to play from behind the entire game. You can't make mistakes then. And that takes away your confidence as a team, takes away your morale, and it, everybody running around with their heads hanging low. You can't do that. My player of the game is none other than Jaden Ivey. He's going to learn a very good lesson today. He ended up fouling out the game. Had a couple costly mistakes late in the game, but prior to that, he took the game over. A player being picked with the number 5 pick that high in the draft, you want to see him have the ability to take a game over from time to time, and that's what he did. He lost. He was upset when he went to the bench after fouling out, but he's going to learn from this. The other day during his media after the game, he was talking about how he felt his turnovers and some mistakes that he made. So he was getting on himself. He's probably going to get on himself after this game, but he's going to learn. He's going to learn. He's going to learn how to drive that ball to the basket and not get blocked so much. He's going to learn. But right now, he's just in that learning phase. And he'll learn. He'll figure it all out. His speed goes to 100, sometimes too many times and too quick. He's going to have to learn to temper that speed down and know when to go to 100 and when to cut back. And he'll do that too. The game is going to continue to slow down for him, and he's going to start figuring things out, figuring out what teams are doing. Teams are coming for him and Cade Cunningham. They're trying to disrupt the backcourt as soon as the ball is tipped, like we seen today. And a lot of times, think about this, how many times you see in the game full court pressure. Full court pressure. They put full court pressure on Cade Cunningham when he's coming in, when he's dribbling the ball up the court. Haven't even crossed the half-court line yet. So teams are coming, and they're plotting their defensive scheme to disrupt and stop Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. So the Pistons are going to have to figure out a way to get the best, put those guys in the best situation to be successful, because how they go is how the team's going to go. I want him to continue to learn to get to the rim with strength, confidence, and to quit looking for the refs to bail him out. Quit looking for the refs to bail him out, like we just talked about a minute ago. He's going to learn, just like Cade had to learn. Just keep playing. You are a Detroit Piston. You're gonna run into that. Refs don't bail you out. Not here. So, good game. That's my take on it. Pistons lost by 4 points, but they fought in that fourth quarter. But that's the only quarter they won. And really until the midway through the third, they just didn't have any intensity. So the name of the game for these Pistons to win is going to be defensive intensity from the gate. Shut teams down, get as many easy transition baskets as you can get until the chemistry continues to be built. And even when the chemistry is built, but right now you got to put the defense on people. Put the defense on people and get out there and run. It's a young team. Get out there and run the ball. Don't rely on shooting all these threes. We are not the Golden State Warriors. Get the ball in the paint, put teams in foul trouble, and I think that'll be the key to success for these Pistons moving forward. But overall, it was a good game, a good learning experience, a tough loss for them. They're going to feel this one. Tough loss for them, and you know they wanted to win it for Casey as well. So not too many complaints about coaching today. Starting lineup was nice. I like to see that. I like when Duren was out there. Duren also did his thing. Duren played 19 minutes. He only had 2 points, but he did have 6 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds. But he only played 19 minutes. And you know, we got to remember that he's young. I would have liked to see Noel get out there some, but I don't know what's going on with Noel, why they won't play him. But I'd like to see him out there some too. I mean, even if it's just for a few minutes to help in situations where we need to get some stops, or maybe we need to close out a quarter to so we can win that particular quarter. Put Noel in there for defensive purposes. I just would like to see him in there more. But for whatever reason, they're not playing him. I don't know if he's injured or what. But anyway, that's all I got on this game. Pistons lose 111-115 to the Toronto Raptors. Detroit Pistons are 3-12 right now. Toronto Raptors are 8-7. So Raptors did their thing. They got the win, but they took the fight to us today. Pistons going to have to definitely learn a big time lesson from this game. So that's all I got for you. Once again, I want to thank everybody again for the subscribers, 628 of you. Appreciate it big time. Don't forget to check the merch link in the description, and we'll check you out for the next one. With that being said, everybody, stay safe.